beets real quick because they're the messiest. And you'll notice I put a glove on, and I've got paper down here. Well, you can't see it. Let's move this over, see if I can do that.
They look nice, beautiful.
Paper down here because they stain like crazy. And I kind of found that out the hard way one day when I was cleaning a bunch of beets. And usually that's something the prep people did, and I never had. And I know they stain. I should have known better. But at that point, I was oblivious. So I'm just going to peel them up. And you can talk while I'm doing this. I figured since we have a little more time, and normally what I'm going to do is start the show about 15 minutes early, and I'll prep in it.
Okay, so everyone can hear us now.
Yeah, and we're being taped. Everyone could hear us from the time we came on.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I didn't say anything bad.
Yeah. So you have to be fully dressed unless we're doing a different kind of lab.
Yeah, glad. Woo! That was a close one.
Yeah. And there's no real, like we used to have the green room kind of thing where it was private. Mm-hmm. There's no real privacy now. So if you see any comments or questions, Susan, feel free to.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Yeah, we are getting comments. This is so exciting. You know what?
More engaged.
I've always been a gadget nut. I mean, really, since I was a teenager, and so I'm. I really want to find out all about this. I love it. And, it's funny. It goes hand in hand with you with today's show talking about the Spiralizer. And there's so much that's happening in the kitchen now between, new appliances and new gadgets. And it's an exciting time. It really is.
Well, I know they make a hand Spiralizer too, but I don't know how it holds up against something as heavy as a beet. Because I'm wondering myself, it'll work on a soft vegetable like a potato, like a zucchini, but these are pretty heavy duty. These are hard. I mean, you could hurt someone with this beet.
Yeah, well, I just saw somewhere, and I couldn't find the link to buy it. I forget the brand name, but it's some kind of motorized peeler.
Ooh, there you go.
Which did look. Good. I mean, who wants to peel? Like, when you do Thanksgiving, I have 10 pounds of potatoes. I always gave it to my son. The funny thing is my son came over several hours early last Thanksgiving and just sat down and said, okay, where's the potatoes? And I had done them already. But that's just a boring aside story. But gadgets, I would love to know, actually. I would love to know everyone's, favorite new modern gadgets for the kitchen.
Okay, and we have a question.
Do a discussion. Let's collect these fabulous. What do you like? What do you use? Right.
We do have a question in there. I see from Dell Williams, and he wants to know if I'm using two phones. Dell, I'm at home, so I'm using two laptops. I have two laptops set up. I'm using the exact same setup I did for when we did the YouTube shows, except I have two laptops here. If I can really do this without messing this up too much, I would turn them and let you see, but I think I'm going to kill what I have going. But I have one dead ahead right here on the camera, and then I have one overhead with the pan cam on a tripod that I'm using it from. And I actually am using two Macs today for the first time. Woo! Wow. Usually I use a PC and a Mac, and I tell people, and they just shake their heads like I'm indecisive.
Well, how did you get this? What do you mean? You have two Mac laptops?
Well, Lisa, the reason I got one is Lisa needed a new laptop. I went shopping, and all the regular laptops were getting so expensive, and they all came apart. All the PC, and I says, if I want a tablet, I'll buy a tablet. Don't give me a laptop that folds backwards, comes apart, because I'm going to break it. I know which way it's supposed to go. Don't get me started going the other way with it. So I'm looking at the prices going, this is insane. This is why I never bought a Mac. So I went over to the Mac guy and bought a Mac. And then I looked at it, and she got one, and I got her the smaller one because she doesn't like the bigger computers. And she loves her tablet. And I ended up buying the MacBook, the bigger one for me. Hey, how you doing, Sebastian?
Hey, what's happening, Chef? I just wanted to jump on real quick and congratulate you because I've been on Blab for about a week, and I talk about why social media sucks. That's my message in the name of my book. So I'm jumping on and trying to figure out where everyone's fitting in here. And it's a bunch of noise and conversation on discovering where Blab fits in everywhere. And you've just taken the knife by the horns, if you will, and shown where this can be put together in a creative space. Now, I haven't watched more than 3 or 4 minutes of the show, in all fairness, but I'm assuming that you're going to be getting to it on the culinary tip in just a minute. And I just had to stop and commend you on your efforts. I look forward to following what else you've got, what else you have going on. And I don't want to say I'm a chef by I guess as a hobby. So I definitely love, I'm a foodie and I love to cook. So being able to see social media and new technology mixed in with this is just awesome. So I'd like to connect outside this Blab and further the conversation.
Absolutely.
Can I just ask you, have you seen our show before?
No, not at all. I was just thumbing through, and I've been just barging into random blabs and giving my 2 cents as of late.
Oh, that's awesome. And, that you know what? It sounds really cool. This is my first time, and Chef and I have been doing this show for over a year weekly. And I'm a kitchen designer, and we do a holistic sort of a discussion / cooking tips. I talk about kitchen design, and Chef, cooks us something amazing. And, together we're kind of just sharing the kitchen as a whole to everyone every week. We do this every week for over a year. And this is the first time we're on here.
So yeah, it's great to be here. It's so great to connect with both of you. So prior to Blab, how did you guys broadcast the show and be able to have you do the commentary and Chef do the cooking and commentary?
We were using Google Hangouts.
Oh, okay, cool.
And, it's a great product. The quality of the video is great. There's a lot more you have to do to get things going with it. Like this, I sat down, and I usually have to prep everything and do this to set the computers up. And I turned it on, and it clicked Blab, and I went, well, I'm done. I just have to make sure the camera's in the right spot. So I actually opened up a Google Hangout to see where the camera was pointed.
But what also I want to mention to you is that as part of our weekly show, of course, Chef cooks in real time and real stuff. But I also I usually have a slideshow on different parts of kitchen design. So next week, what I plan to do is I have 3 monitors, at my desktop. I'm using a Mac laptop now. I plan on taking the camera when I do my slideshow and simply positioning it on a stable perch onto another monitor and speaking and going through my slideshow that way. So I think that will be an interesting use of Blab.
Absolutely. And definitely in the culinary world, I see an Iron Chef coming up and having a chef in each window and, maybe a guy with a bow tie, which is normally me up in the top right saying, what do we got going on here? We're chopping up some onions. Chef, there's nothing to cry about there. Are those lentils you got soaking there?
I know that. Yeah, that's a great concept. We should talk about that.
Let's definitely do it. I'm going to find you guys on Twitter after, and let's connect on a conversation. But keep up the great work, and I'm a fan. I'm on board. So
love to hear it.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
You guys have a great day. Thanks for what do you say? Thanks for blabbing me in. Thanks for letting me tune in, chime in.
I don't know, just for joining in.
I think we can invent. Yeah.
Figure that out. There's some vernacular, I'm sure, but we haven't heard it.
Exactly. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Susan, I will tell you, too, you see the hands, the little sets of hands?
Yes, I was wondering what they are.
Okay, they're now called props. So if you click on someone else's hands, you're giving them props, and you get those numbers. Now, those numbers don't do a lot right now. We were talking to the guy from Blab, and he said they don't want to let people get an unfair advantage they could hire someone on Fiverr to sit there all day and give them thousands of props. But that's just a way to show your appreciation. And before, when they had it, they were called fields. And
okay,
because Mia dubbed it as feeling the person up.
Yeah, maybe better.
Slowly migrated to props.
Yeah.
Because I guess they didn't want to hear that. So anyway, yeah, I'm on 2 laptops. As you can see, I have a wireless mouse here, which I figured out after about a year and a half of doing these and reaching across computers. I don't have it set up on the other one, so I may reach across that one from time to time. But yeah, it's pretty simple to do. And you see I peeled my beets, I peeled my turnips, and I'm just setting them aside because I'm doing some prep. And before I used to have everything prepped and ready for you. So now I figured, well, let me show you some of the prep. and you can see what I'm doing.
I think that's great. I almost forgot we have a cooking show. I almost forgot.
I hear you. So the other thing I have is the zucchini, and I'm not going to peel them. I'm just going to cut them. But I'm going to start with making some of the pestos before I do any of the real spiralizing. And I've turned on my induction burner, and it's really a great tool, and I love these. And if you do any kind of parties at home, if you do any kind of cooking that you like to have people around, and you don't want to keep turning your back to the stove, or you need another burner, these are cheap. These are like under $100 on Amazon. And again, I don't have an Amazon affiliate. Under $100 on. All you need is a pan that's magnetic. So they do have special pans for them. And I got this pan there as well, and it was about $30, and it's a really heavy duty pan. So you already have them.
Yeah, that does bear repeating. And also it expands your kitchen, it expands your workspace, and also for holidays, for example, when you have anytime you have other people helping you cook, just put that thing anywhere, and now you have another workstation in the kitchen.
And you know what? I don't have that type of outside space anymore, but you could put this outside on a table.
That's true.
And that's outside.
Yes.
You can have, they're cheap enough that you could have two of them, and they're plugged into a regular 110-volt plug. It's not like they need massive amounts of power. In the old days, when I started doing corporate dining back in the 90s, these were like $2,000 a piece. These
yes, I remember when they came out in the 80s,
yeah.
and they tried to come out into home kitchens as not even portable, but integrated, cooktops. It just didn't fly.
And you needed a lot of power to run them too. They would blow circuits like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Because we used to actually have, we did station cooking, we would have 4 of these set up, and people would come up and say it was a pasta day. I want this in my sauce. So we'd start building it, put it on, and move to another pan and mill it and move it. And by the time we got the 4th person done, the first person was just about ready. So then we'd sauce it, serve it, and then give it out to them. So this was like a constant barrage, and I'd be doing like 300, 400 dinners in the space of an hour and a half.
Wow. Yeah, flexibility is good. That's about flexibility.
Let me show you one more thing, Susan, before we go. If you move over to your left-hand side of the screen where it says "Tell a Little Bird,"
I did that.
Did you just tweet out?
I tweeted a couple of 2 or 3 times.
And you can change the tweet. You can write what you want in it.
I did that too.
Just can't screw with the back end of it where they have, like, you can only go up to a certain point. Like if you're going to change it, you want to stop before it gets to, well, it doesn't have it here, but before the show, it'll have like subscribe here and stuff, because you don't want to affect the back end of it.
Yeah, no, I called you out on Twitter within the last hour a few times, so maybe you didn't see it yet.
Well, we're getting ready for our pesto here, and I have a hot pan here, and I let it get pretty hot, and I'm going to toast my pine nuts here. I'm going to stick with a traditional way of making it and use pine nuts. I just don't want to let them sit too long because I don't want them to burn. I want them to toast. And
love pine nuts.
Yeah. And, you can use walnuts, and you don't have to use any nuts at all. If someone is nut allergic, or if you're making it for a party and you're afraid one of your guests might be nut allergic and you don't want to take the chance, leave them out. It's not a deal breaker.
Okay, this is a totally random question. Probably perfect for Blab, perfect for this format. Totally random. Could you substitute with sunflower seeds?
I don't know how they would process. I've never tried them.
I'll tell you why. Because now in the Northeast here, the sunflowers are dying. Just the other day, there was this like 12-inch sunflower head, and we took it apart and we took out all the seeds.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have to do something with them. So just a random question.
I don't know how they process, how well they break up, if they're too hard or they're too fibrous.
Well, they're in a shell, and then you have to take them out of the shell, whatever.
But, you can try it, and it might be something different to try. And then another seed, or even pumpkin seeds or something like that.
Oh, love roasted pumpkin seeds.
That's an excellent idea. I'll have to try that. Thank you, Susan.
Yeah.
See, there are no bad ideas. Sometimes things don't come out as well as you would have hoped, but there are no bad ideas. Everything, and especially in this day and age of innovation, everything is different. And Maggie's saying pumpkin seeds with chili. That's good. I've never done that.
Oh, I love that. Yep, yesterday, in fact, I had all these fresh plum tomatoes, and I made, and some of them, you know, you boil them to take off the skins, and then you put them in cold water, and the skins come right off.
Okay.
So, that didn't, oh yeah, so I did that, but some of them I couldn't boil because they had like bad spots to them, so I cut them out. I just threw those in with the ones I boiled and blanched, and then I, you know, sauteed some onion and this and that, and I had sausage, and then I had these little tiny peppers I steamed. I put it all together. Oh my gosh, it was all fresh and wonderful. So point is, I just threw these things together. You know, sure, it's basics, and it's nothing exact, but yeah, I mean, that's our whole theme.
So I just toasted the pine nuts a little. Nice.
Good.
Good flavor.
Love pine nuts.
A little expensive, so again, if you don't want to use them, it's okay. It's not a deal. Oh, Janice Mansfield is here. Hey, Janice, how you doing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and she uses pumpkin seeds and cilantro pesto. Wow, I'll have to try that. Good to see you here. So I'm going to just put these aside for now because we're going to get to pesto. Well, actually, I'm going to put them in a bowl because if I leave them on this plate, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to spill all out. And they were too expensive to waste, even if I just eat them. Okay, so that's done. And now, that's still a little warm, so I'm going to put a towel down.
Yeah, well, let me know when it's a good time to talk about some of these gadgets.
You can talk about them as we're doing this. What I'm going to do is let me run through this pesto real quick, one of them, and then while I'm cleaning, that would be a good time. So let's start with the easy one first. I'm going to start with these pepper greens. All right. And I've never tried them before. I bought like their super greens from her and some other organic products. So I'm just going to stuff these in. I'm making a mess. I'm dropping them everywhere. Luckily, not everything's on camera. If I was Giada,
it's a nice picture. I mean, you have the beautiful towel underneath and the white base and the green. So aesthetically, it looks good.
Cool. All right, so that's done. Done recycling. All right, so I'm just going to pulse these. Actually, I'm going to put the garlic in with them now to pulse. I'm going to throw in a few extra cloves of garlic. Normally, I wouldn't use that much, but I want to kick this up a little bit.
I love that sound.
Hopefully, it's not too loud. Okay, so that is. Ooh, that smells good. Okay, now we're going to hit some pine nuts in here.
And now, how are you going to? What are you going to use it with? What are you going to pair it with tonight?
I'm going to do these zucchini noodles, and I'm going to throw it in there.
That's right. That's right.
Yep. Okay, let me do this, and I'm going to turn it on. And as it's mixing, I've got my squeezed bottle of oil.
Wow, I have to get one of those.
And I'm just going to add the oil in.
Yeah, I don't like, it's funny, the consistency is very personal too. I've seen it where it's thicker and I don't care for it so thick, but you don't want it too moist either, too much of a liquid.
You don't want it too runny and you don't want it too clumpy.
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
So, I mean, it looks pretty darn good.
It does.
Oh yeah, nice flavor. Let me get a spatula. And it's not overpowering.
No, and look at that with my green painting. Oh, you just missed it. I have my green painting over my head. I mean, we're all coordinated. And the blues, I have blues in my paint and white. We're all really coordinated. I like that.
Color coordinated.
Yep.
This is really tasty. And it's creative. So when you're telling someone about it, how you made it, people are going to sit back and go, wow.
Yeah.
Again, if you wanted to use beet greens, arugula, any other green kind of herb, like, basil is typical and it's wonderful. But some people, it's crazy, some people don't like it. Or usually what happens is people use way too much pesto when they make something. And then it kind of turns people off.
Mm-hmm.
This was really nice. I'm amazed at how well balanced it is and how soft. You get some of the nuttiness of the arugula coming through.
I love, yeah. I mean, so what are any idea the proportions? Is there more arugula than other greens are you using, or is it just a mix?
It's just a mix. And they're telling me, it says other greens. So starting at number 1 is arugula, then baby green mustard. And I guess you'd have to watch that because they get a little too much if you use too much of that. And then it says baby red mustard, cress, baby spinach, baby green bok choy, baby green chard, baby red chard, baby red bok choy, mizuna, which I have no idea what it is, komatsuna, and that either. And ingredients may vary due to season. So I guess they're giving you like what they could be. And again, I just saw these. It's the first time I've ever seen them in the store. I like their products. I generally try to buy these kind of products at one of the big box stores like Sam's or Best Buy's, or not Best Buy's, BJ's, because they're cheaper. But I saw this at Publix this morning and snapped it up. So that was pretty
good. And Maggie says she's green with envy.
Maggie, you want to come in? Come on in and join us if you want to.
And Toots says carrot tops are really nice for pesto too.
There she is.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
Maggie's going to be starting her own show up. She was on Monday with me, actually. And she's going to be starting her own show on Blab for cooking.
Wow.
I don't know if she's on mobile. If she is, she looks like you might not be able to connect, Mags.
Oh, okay.
I'm here. Wait, I can't hear anything.
Yep, you're there. We see you.
We can see you. We can hear you.
Okay,
great. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah, I just had to turn it up.
Nice to meet you.
I do that all the time.
Nice to meet you. I've been watching you for so long, Susan.
It's been a great show, and now we're really. I just feel like it's an exciting new next step. This is just. I don't know. It feels different.
I'm loving Blab. Like, Blab is my new favorite thing ever.
This is my first time. I'm a virgin today.
I'm a big Blab fan.
After many, many years. But no, this is cool.
No, I just wanted to say hi. I wanted to pop in and say hi. And Chef, that looks amazing. Amazing.
As usual.
As usual, right? Chef always makes me drool.
Oh.
You make all the pretty girls drool.
In the younger days, it was for a different reason because I was so handsome. But now it's.
All right. Well, guys, I'll leave you guys be. Guys, hello.
So, Susan, why don't you go ahead and talk about what you want to? I'm going to clean up a little and get ready for the second set of
peppers. You got it.
Cooking.
I like to be inspired by whatever Chef is doing, and the Spiralizer thing. I mean, you're on top of all these modern, food, and gadgets, and and I like to be, on top of things too. And so this was really inspiring to me. And in terms of the kitchen, for those of you who may not be aware, I'm a certified kitchen designer and have been for 25 years, and I'm from the Long Island area, and I've worked on kitchens everywhere, around the country and in my region, and have most of my projects published, and I just love kitchens. What I say about kitchens is that the kitchen is the place where all 5 senses reside. You have all the senses in the kitchen, and it's just the most soulful place. So, when Chef and I talk about, do our show, it is a holistic look at the kitchen. Chef in terms of prepping, and, myself in terms of thinking about the aesthetic and functional parts of the kitchen. So that is an introduction. I'm thinking about these modern gadgets. I'm thinking about the Spiralizer. I have a sous vide appliance, and then I bought a vacuum sealer for my sous vide thing. The panini makers, the bread makers, the rice makers, the salad spinners. We have so many gadgets. Not only that, now I find that I have a big collection of oils and vinegars, but that's a separate type of storage. So how are we going to store and organize all these things? You can organize them in a few different ways. And actually, for those of you who are familiar, I usually do a slideshow with mouth-watering images, beautiful images, I must say. And next week, what I'm going to do is on another monitor at my desktop, I'm going to simply move the camera, perch it to so it looks at another monitor, and then I'll go through a slideshow. So we'll still continue the slideshows. But back to organizing. You may want to organize your gadgets, of course, by use, by frequency of use, by the type of cooking. For example, by baking, by, are they a vegetable? Are they a fresh sort of fruit or vegetable gadget? By holiday. For example, maybe there are only some gadgets you use on certain holidays. So those you may want to put in a certain spot. However you organize, you want them accessible. For those of you who hear us all the time, that's kind of a mantra for me. Where you can organize things, gadgets and appliances and cooking equipment in a single layer. You want to get in and get out and really have things accessible. You can certainly use a pegboard like Julia Child did. And I'll tell you this, if you Google Wellborn, Wellborn, which is one word, pantry, and then KBIS, KBIS, you will see a turquoise pantry, beautiful turquoise pantry with a pegboard inside. So, it's nice to have different homes for your different categories of cooking equipment and gadgets. Now I have the sous vide appliance, and now I have this vacuum thing. I have to find a place for it. And I use that. I probably cook sous vide maybe 4 out of 7 nights. I use it a lot. So a single layer, drawers are good. Drawers with dividers, front to back. For example, if your drawer is 30 inches wide, front to back. You don't want things all jumbled up and cluttered and so on. You want some organization. Open shelves. Now, what I love with open shelves is to sometimes add mix useful items with decorative items. And an antique. Ina Garden. If you look up Ina Garden Kitchen, she does that, and she has her shelves are just beautiful with a combination of these both useful and decorative items together. And some of these things have interesting shapes and forms. You can put them in. Now you can put some of these smaller gadgets in baskets, and good-looking baskets, and put those on upper shelves or lower shelves, and even baskets with lids. There are lots of creative ways to do that. Now, another way to store, and I have a pretty small kitchen, I would say, but I have 2 adjacent areas. One is sort of a den, one is part of a living room around the corner. In each room, I have like a buffet, some kind of storage cabinetry. You know what? I have a lot of my kitchen equipment in those areas that are a little less frequently used. When you consider that a very large kitchen, typically, you can say it's in the kitchen and there's a walking distance. Some people think, oh, well, this is out of the kitchen. I can't store it there, although it might be right around the corner. So absolutely, put some of your lesser used items. Don't put them in the basement, in the closet, and, way down the hallway. Put them in like a beautiful hutch with the doors closed around the corner. You can absolutely do that. So your challenge for today is clear up the clutter, or otherwise your gadgets are collected, but then they're not used. You should fall in love with your gadgets again. And if you do, your gadgets will not need expensive therapy because they'll feel loved. So that's my little, talk about gadgets and kitchen design today. And, love your gadgets.
You had a question from Mike Beek. He wants to know why you use sous vide versus standard cooking.
Yeah, I'm using it a whole lot more. In fact, tonight I took out chicken breast and I'll be sous vide chicken breast. The tenderness of what if you sous vide any kind of meat, unlike any other cooking process I have done in my entire life. It's that dramatic. It's on. I even put hamburgers. I even make hamburgers and put them in the sous vide. They're tender end to end with steak or hamburgers. You don't have a quarter-inch gray overcooked area. Everything is cooked so incredibly tender. It's unbelievable. So yeah, I use it almost every day. Thanks for the question.
You prefer that to using like regular cooking?
To me, it's night and day. And then you have to finish it off. You have to finish it off in a cast iron or some kind of pan to get a little, to get some to get a sear on it. But I'm not an exaggerating kind of person, but this is night and day. This is amazing. You need it.
Well, Mike loves his big green egg, and I can attest to how well those cookers work because I was at a festival in Melbourne about a year ago this time where I got to sample them cooking pizza, desserts, you name it. They cooked it on that big green egg. It was pretty incredible. Now,
what is the big green egg?
The green egg is like the Cadillac of charcoal cookers. Yeah, it lasts a lifetime. It's green, and it looks like an egg, hence the name. They weren't thinking far out of the box with it. And it's they come in different sizes. And the way it burns is ingenious. It burns a lot easier and it shuts off, and the use of oxygen, the way it flows through, it really cooks things really, really well. I haven't gotten one yet, but it is on my list.
I have to look into that. That sounds,
Yeah, real nice way to cook.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. I have got my broccoli rabe, and I washed it off a little bit, make sure there wasn't any dirt in it, because the last thing you want in a pesto is dirt. Now, the other stuff was triple washed, and I trust them to get it clean. But if I'm using fresh basil, unless I can see it's really clean, I'm going to make sure I rinse it off. One of the problems you run into when you do rinse herbs or you do rinse greens is they get wet, and the water is going to detract from the flavor. It's going to kind of water it down. So I did dry these a little in paper towels. I have a salad spinner in the cabinet somewhere. I could have got that out, but I figured it would have been more trouble at this point to find it than not. So that would work as well. A salad spinner is great to get out water. And they have inexpensive ones you can get at a grocery store. So broccoli rabe, and then we're going just the same way I did before. I'm going to put some pine nuts in here, and I'm going to put them in now to let them really get kind of mixed up. And my garlic. Last time, I put the pine nuts in with the cheese. So I'm going to see how they mix this way. And we're just going to pulse.
Now, have you done broccoli rabe pesto before?
Never.
Oh, okay. So this is history making.
Okay, smells good. I've made arugula. I have made cilantro. I have made some different green pestos, but I've never done it with broccoli rabe. So while I was looking for them, I saw them, and I was looking to see what other greens they might have. They didn't have a lot. There were no collards. There were no different kinds of greens that I could use, no carrot greens. So I figured, let's give it a try. You don't know until you try.
That's true. And you know what? I just had a thought. At my farmer's market, there's a stand where they actually have oils and vinegars. Mm-hmm. And now they have all these oils like blood infused orange or this or that. I could absolutely see adding a beautifully flavored different type of oil to a pesto.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you watch the amount, because the oil is really to keep it liquid and to help to give it a little more substance and richness. So you want the oil to be rich. Olive oil is really a very rich oil, And in fact, if you add it to the end of a pasta sauce, you can keep stirring it in and it'll get thicker and richer. And people don't know that. We have a couple questions. What would be a good sub for pine nuts? I'm allergic. And a good sub would be to leave them out because they're really not a deal breaker. If you're allergic to just pine nuts and you can use walnuts, I would say use walnuts. We were talking about using seeds, and one of my other viewers said that she uses, which one was it? Pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds in her arugula pesto, I think it was, to make it even greener. So there's some seeds you might try if you really want to use it, and if not, you can just leave it out. It's going to be okay without it. Trust me on that one. And any greens would work. Pete's on the cheap. You know, I think pretty much anyone. You want the green to have a little bit of flavor though, because you're putting this pesto in. Otherwise, I mean, I've never seen a straight parsley pesto. I've seen parsley added. Like if you have a green that you think is a little too obnoxious for a pesto, cut it with parsley or cut it with something else that's mild. It doesn't have to be all that kind of green, because traditionally a basil pesto, and the reason some people are turned off by them is they're so strong. Traditionally, a basil pesto should be 2/3 basil, 1/3 parsley, Italian parsley. You want to mellow it out a little bit. Otherwise, you know, it can be overpowering. Oil replacements, avocado oil, like Susan was saying, flavored oils, any oil that you like that works well with you. It does not have to be olive oil. Olive oil adds, holds it together and adds some substance to it. But, you know, I have a bottle of avocado oil under there, and I know there's some other healthy oils. So you can try that too. So I got the cheese in here. Let's turn it on and let's add the oil. And this will be about the same way. We're just going to add it until it looks about right. And I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to scrape it down because I got some stuff. And I want this to make sure that it's getting not just mixed in, but churned up a little bit more and smoothed out.
Let me ask you, do you think that if you used another oil, maybe that was a little bit sweet or something, that if there was a bitter green, would that help? Would that help it be less bitter?
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt. I don't think you want a pesto to be overly sweet, so I would be very careful with anything sweet. And I can't imagine an oil being too sweet, but something to balance it.
Well, I mean, like these fruit, like this orange oil, infused oil, or they're making, there's even making a basil oil. All these flavored oils. I'm just wondering if it would cut the green, if some greens are a little bitter.
It might. And again, if it's too bitter, think of using parsley, or think of using something that's not so bitter, like arugula or Boston lettuce or something else. And again, with the flavored oils, you don't want to add a lot more expense into it if it's not going to really enhance the finished product. Because, it's great. Like I always tell people, if you're cooking with olive oil, I only have one olive oil, but some people buy this really good olive oil, like from different fields in Tuscany. I mean, it can get crazy and it can get expensive. That's the olive oil you save for the very end when you serve the dish. Okay, so say I plated my pasta and now I want to drizzle it, put the sauce on. I want to drizzle.
I have some of those.
That's when you use the really good stuff. You want to use it at the very end when you're going to taste it. You don't want to use it in the beginning because it's going to be lost in translation. So using the flavored oils might make it taste good now, but then when I mix the pesto into a pasta or mix it into a vegetable, I might lose it. So you won't know unless you try it. And again, it's that's what we're here for. You might want to take that flavored oil at the end when you serve it. Maybe when I'm sauteing it, right as I'm done sauteing it, drizzle a little bit of that in, just a little bit. So that would be the time. Because just like using butter, if you're going to put butter in a dish you're cooking, put it in at the very end so you can taste the richness of the butter.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right, so let me finish mixing this up a little bit more oil. And we're off. Okay, so that is that. And this is just a little looser than the last one, but that's okay. And I can smell it. It's got a much stronger aroma than the other pesto did. but it's still got a lovely green color.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get rid of this.
It does look great.
And my friend Diane Jacob just came in, and we're actually doing a show next week. And she wrote a book called Well, Right for Food, so we're going to be talking about that. And Diane, if you just want to pop in and say hello to see how things work, click on the open seat, and I'll bring you in.
I'm telling you, we're so color coordinated with all these views. I'm loving it.
And I've got to mute over on the other computer, otherwise I get feedback. So
Yep.
I won't mute until she comes in. Okay. So we'll get to see, because we wanted to troubleshoot her joining before we actually do it.
How long will that stay good for?
The pesto?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's going to start to turn brown almost immediately. It's going to oxidize. So if I'm going to put this in the refrigerator like this right now, I'm going to put a piece of plastic over it. Before we do that, let me talk. Diane, if you're having trouble getting the camera, look at the very top of where the web address is in the web browser page, where you see a little star and you see the camera. Okay, if you go across in the white bar where it says
There I am.
Oh, there you are. Okay. I was going to tell you to click on the camera there. Great.
Hi.
Hi.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
I'm signing off now because I'm just watching you make pesto.
Okay. I just wanted you to see how easy it was to join and everything.
It is really easy. I like this.
And people can come in and out, just like you did.
Yeah.
So they flow in and out of the discussion.
Ask a question or you. Yeah. So you have to accept when someone asks a question, though, right?
Well, if you want them to come in, yeah, and sometimes there'll be a backlog of people wanting to come in, like some of the really big social media shows. They'll just pile up, and you can go through them to see who you want to let. So I haven't gotten to that status yet.
Next week.
Next week. But yeah, it's really easy. And then, you know, if they are troublesome, you just click on the little X and they go bye-bye.
Oh.
Or they can let themselves go out.
Okay. All right. I'm going to listen for a little while.
Sounds good. Thanks for
I
joining.
make a lot of pesto, so I'm always interested.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So this is, you were asking how to store it. Well, what I would do is you think about it, you know, when you put something in, you don't want to form a skin on it, you put the plastic down.
Yeah.
I would put the plastic so it's touching it if I wanted it to stay a nice bright green. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself skimming off the top as it turns black.
Well, kind of like guac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to protect it. Now, this is more pesto than I'm going to eat. And Lisa's leaving for Philadelphia on Friday. So this is lovely stuff. I don't want to lose it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a plastic ice cube tray.
Ah, yes, I heard of that. I haven't done it.
Fill each cube with the pesto.
Right.
And that should almost be enough for when we sit down. Because, again, you don't want to get heavy-handed with this pesto. All right, you want to use it as a seasoning, as a flavoring. When you put too much in, if it's that apparent, that's all you're going to taste. Okay, and then the garlic is going to burn, the herbs are going to burn, and it's not going to be a pleasant experience. So you want to watch as you're putting it in. So enough. An ice cube should be enough. If it's not, next time you cut 1.5 and you use 1.5. But put them in your ice cube tray, let them freeze solid, pop them out, put them in a Ziploc bag. Okay.
Love it.
And then you got summer for whenever you have it, whenever you want it.
I think that's great. Good idea. I have to do that. I haven't done that yet. I don't know why.
All right, so now we've got two really nice pestos made. And again, you can use any kind of green pretty much that would hold up in there. And, oh, Tammy said because you never use nuts. Yeah, again, Tammy, it's not a deal breaker. Traditionally, it's in the Italian pestos. And, you know, somebody decided that would go in there and it would be good. And it worked, so we kept doing it. All right, now I'm going to move. Let's see. I'm trying to decide what's best, but I think I'm going to move this out of the way. And you'll notice I have a wipe under my board. That's so it doesn't slip. That's your safety.
Ah, that's right. You mentioned that a few weeks ago.
Yep. Always place it, and that way your board, your cutting board, doesn't move around. So let's see.
Oh, you have an industrial style spiralizer. Wow, that's impressive.
Boys and their toys. Right?
Fooling around. Sorry, you're not fooling around.
Okay, now this has got little feet on it. And I was just hoping it wasn't too wet or oily that it didn't slide. And let me see if I can fix this camera just a little bit.
You know, I've seen a million different types from the handheld to, to that type. There's so many different types.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. That's a little better.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Now, let's go back.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. Yep. Good.
All right, now let me move this over. And we'll go back this way. It's funny doing it, but there we go. Okay, good. Now we can put the plate under here. All right, that looks pretty safe. I'm going to move this out of the way because the Lord knows what I'm going to throw in the way. All right, spiralizing time. Okay, so we're going to start with a zucchini because it's easy. And I want to practice since I've only ever done this once before. And I'm going to cut the end off the zucchini. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to leave the other end, the tail end, because we're not going to use that piece. It's not going to work. So this comes back. And I have 3. This one came with 4 blades. Let me pull one out.
Wow.
They've actually got little pictures on the blades so you know what size you're cutting. This one hasn't been used yet. I've only used 1 blade. But it'll make different size noodles, and this is one of the smaller ones. It's not the smallest one, but it's not the biggest one either. Here we go. This is the second from the smallest. So it's very easy to use. There's a little point right here that I stick it into in the dead center, push it in, and then I push my spiralizer this into it, this way with it, get a better bite, okay? There's a little arm here, and I'm not sure if it locks it into position or what, but I put it down. And then you just start pushing it.
Oh, my gosh. That is the perfect task to give kids to do. I mean, just they would go to town.
Okay, and they start to come out like little noodles. Now, these are small. I got some really long ones. There we go. You can see.
Wow.
Could be how I'm placing this. I'm just going to clean this off a little bit because I think I got a little bit. The other one went right through, no problems. But because, I'm doing this.
What is the brand name of that one?
This is a Paderno.
Okay, and what'd you pay for that?
I think it was around $60 maybe.
Oh, yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah,
that's the luxury spiralizer.
Trying to get this dead center more. There we go. And that's not. All right, this isn't working. All right, I did something wrong, so let me take this off real quick. Let me get another blade. Again, this is learning with Chef Dennis. As he does it, you guys get to learn how to do it.
Right, that's right. If the blade is in there securely and it's not dangerous, I could totally see kids doing that and loving it. They could go to town.
Adding bigger ones, but it's not connecting quite right. So small pieces instead of. Let me get a fresh one and start again. I know people that are watching this that have used one are going, I'm doing something wrong, but the other day, like I said, I hooked it up, 2 went in perfectly. And one of the problems you have with this too is you got to make sure it's thick enough. There we go.
Oh, okay. Maybe so maybe it's the size.
And this one's just moving around. It's not staying for whatever reason. I hate when that happens. There.
Oh, yeah, or maybe it's the amount of pressure.
There you go. That's possible. Putting too much pressure.
Right. Either you don't want to do too much or too little, maybe.
So they're coming out, and I think that might have been exactly what it is. It was too much pressure.
Oh, too much for typical guy.
I know. I was going to say that.
Typical.
There you go. That's better. Too much pressure.
See? I'm not surprised. Look, I can't believe that thing.
Okay, so now we got to figure it out. Wow. I'm nervous. The chef does get nervous. So I'm nervous, and I'm screwing it up live on camera.
Right, everyone's watching.
Everyone's watching. So anyway, that's that. I'm going to rinse this off, and let's try a turnip. And then we're going to get to some cooking.
I mean, that's, it's also like, I guess it could be like all seasons. To me, it seems like a summery. It's kind of a light look and texture and very impressive. People will think you were peeling something like for hours. At least those people who don't know about it yet.
Okay, this is pretty easy. This is, honestly, the harder vegetable maybe.
What is that?
This is a turnip.
Oh, it's a turnip. That's a good way to get you out to eat your turnips. Look at that. That is so awesome.
I'm going to try that with, and I'm not going to throw these pieces away. I'm going to use them for stock. I'm going to throw them all, or when I roast meat, so I'm going to throw them all in. Oh, these turnips smell good.
But, I'm just thinking of something else. In addition to having kids do it, and enjoy doing it and helping in the kitchen and fostering children helping in the kitchen, I think that looks like an awesome way for kids to eat vegetables.
Absolutely. And the one thing you do want to be careful with, though, with the kids is these blades are really super sharp.
Yeah.
So you want to be careful. This is a smaller blade, so let's see how that works. Oh. My nerves are kicking back in. There we go. This is only the second time I have used a spiralizer. So I like to do these because if I can do it without ever doing it, I have a little more faith that my viewers can do it. And I don't want you to be intimidated by things just because you never tried it.
Craig, Whitefield says you should consider having most of it done than just doing a quick demo of the steps. So it won't really matter if you do have tech difficulties. And yes, that's true. And Chef, you usually do have everything done. But you know what? I think part of this is that we're feeling that, sometimes you have to figure out how to make it work, and it does take a little time. And this is sort of a venue where we're just doing a little trial by error in a number of ways in the prep. What do you think, Chef?
I do too. And again, I think, people like to see a real person having some issues, especially a chef, having some issues. I've never made them before. So like I said, I want to inspire people to try things that maybe they hadn't tried before.
Yeah. No, that was a good point. That's a very good point. But you know what? Sure, as long as we don't struggle for half an hour, then I'll give you that. That's true.
Yeah, if I had struggled much more, I'd have been ready. So I'm going to try a beet now. Now I've got another plate because I can imagine how messy this is going to be, but we're going to try. And this is kind of a multicolored beet, so that's why I picked that one. And I put a glove on because they're going to bleed. All right, let's see what we got here.
But you know what? It's so cool for me, and I'm sure for others, to see how many vegetables you can use it with. I mean, I wouldn't have thought of beets.
This is amazing.
And that's stunning. Look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that. I was going to complain that it's not color coordinated with our other screens, but that's okay. That's the accent color. And I mean, that's a way to get beets into kids. I love it.
All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse this real off because beet juice does stain, so I don't want them staining my brand new spiralizer yet. I'm going to let it get a few more nicks and bumps before I let
it. Craig says this is oddly fascinating, isn't it? I mean,
Craig, it's not like you're cutting the cheese like you did when you used your for that old Google Plus presentation. Craig did like a very dramatic cheese demonstration. Okay, so I know there's more ways to take it apart, but I have most of the beet juice off.
Wow, I mean those beets they're stunning. I mean I could see putting some kinds of sauces on top, the pesto or other things, and then, I mean, gourmet.
Well,
Impressive.
I just talked to a woman. I'm going to a hotel in West Palm later on next month to review it. And she has chefs that stay there, or TV network chefs. She couldn't say who just because of privacy issues. But she said she has a hand spiralizer, and she uses it to change out salads because, you can only eat the same greens so much to make it look pretty, to do other things. So here are my...
I can't believe that.
What are we going to call these? Boodles? Oh, my God, they're long. They're like shoelaces.
Now I understand what all the craziness is about. Now I get it. It's cool. It makes you want to eat vegetables, which is really, really great in and of itself. It's all around awesome.
Okay. I'm having fun. You guys having fun?
Yeah.
I am.
I'm loving it.
And you can't see the mess I've got accumulating in my sink, which is good. And I have time before Lisa gets home from work to clean it all up. Joe, what'd you do today? I said, oh, not a lot. All right, so let's saute. And I've got my other noodles. Now, I'm going to hold off on the beets because I got a feeling they're going to bleed like crazy. I know with the zucchini, now this doesn't seem real wet, but sometimes you want to dry them off a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you're going to let them sit for any amount of time, you got to really watch how much they're going to start to soak up. Now, I cooked them the other night, and they cooked down. You're not going to get like a humongous big pile of stir-fried noodles unless you cook them just gently. And when I say gently, I'm saying not for a long time. Don't cook them as long as you think you might need to. Look at them. They're still going to be crisp. Remember, it's a vegetable, so it should be crisp. And just give it enough to get it cooked a little bit, I guess, depending upon what you're using. And people have told me, of course, you can use potatoes, and you can make curly fries. They have an attachment that I didn't use that makes, it just spirals. You put a pin through it, so it's like an accordion kind of a thing. So I'm going to add a little bit of oil here. And we're going to throw in some turnips. I'm going to put them in first because they're, I think, a little harder. Tongs. Just going to let them get a little go.
I got my kids a sous vide appliance for Christmas. I think I'm going to have to get them the Spiralizer.
It's pretty cool. And look, I mean, again, I don't have an affiliate with Amazon, but I do my shopping on Amazon.
Oh, I do too. I'm always getting packages. I'm getting one today. I'm waiting.
I use Prime. I mean, you get that shipment delivered so quickly.
Yeah. I'm getting a new great camera today. I'm so excited. So excited. In fact, it's a Sony, and it will do Wi-Fi, and I'm looking forward to having better quality images pushed out to social media from this, from the camera, super sharp and super, I'm really looking forward to doing that next step up.
Okay. Now you can probably, I don't know, you can't really see, but the zucchini is softening up almost immediately cooking. The turnips are still going to be, okay, and you could probably use these in a different kind of pasta vegetable salad too. If you just cut them up a little so they're smaller.
Yep.
So we're cooking these up. Now, let's say I just want to serve this like it is. I'm going to take a little of the pesto, and let's use, what is this? This is the first one I think we made. Go back and watch. But I'm going to put a little spoonful in. I started to put more in, and I had to stop myself because the natural inclination is to add more.
So why are you even adding it in the pan there, just to keep it sort of a little bit moist?
What, the pesto?
Yeah.
I just would add, like if I was cooking something, that's when I would put it in.
Oh, okay.
Make the oil in it a little bit. And I just turn this off, so let me get a plate.
I usually put it on after. I usually have it in the side. Oh, no, of course. I usually put it on. Yeah, I usually take it off the heat, put it in the pot or the bowl, and then put the pesto on. So
Well, I always, like if I'm cooking something, I'm gonna add it in. Now, if I'm mixing it just in with pasta, I would add it in later.
mhm.
Let me rinse this real quick.
And Mrs. M.A. Foodie is asking, have you made these before? You
No,
have.
the first time.
This is the first time.
Yeah, I've never done, and I only ever spiralized two zucchinis before. Not one, two. So I'm gonna let this go, and now let's throw some of these beets in because I want to see.
Love those.
I got one continuous beet here. I think I got to kill him.
Oh no, it's crazy.
I know. I love it.
Beautiful.
Lisa's Polish, but she doesn't eat beets, so this might be a way to get beets into her. Because I like beets. I like to roast them. So let's taste this while that's cooking a little bit. Wow. So a little more salt.
Looks good.
Crispness, the crunch.
Good.
Almost like eating spaghetti.
It looks like the consistency. It looks like it.
It's like eating one. I'd like to have to suck that noodle up though.
Wow.
Oh my God.
It's like pasta? How could it be like pasta?
Your brain sees pasta.
Okay.
I mean, we associate things. It's not as soft as pasta,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like I'm eating pasta.
All right, that's good. That's good enough for me.
I'm starting to eat more vegetables, but I've never been a big veggie guy. But this is dinner. This could be dinner.
Yeah, I have this whole, I told you this whole farm delivery thing for fruits and vegetables, which is, every week. So I'm trying to get more into. I just keep thinking about kids, how great this is for kids to get them to eat, real vegetables rather than the box.
Process, like you said, of making them.
Yeah. Oh, yep. This is
Really,
kids.
honestly, these are really tasty. Susan rarely sees me eat what I make.
I know, you're like downing it. Wow. You're going to town.
I'm dying to try the beets. Now I'm not gonna put any pesto on these beets. I'm just salt and pepper in them.
Mm-hmm.
Like simply because I want to taste the flavors. Zucchini is a bland vegetable, and it kind of really takes a lot of seasoning. But the beet has got a lot more going for it.
And Dr. Vogelman, our resident comedian,
Mm-hmm.
what did he say? He said something before. He says, we got the beat. We got the beat. You know what I mean?
We got the beet.
We got the beat. And he said it also reminds him of spaghetti squash.
Excellent flavor.
That's just beautiful. I can see, you know what? Somehow I can see that with oranges or maybe orange peppers, orange little pepper chunks or slices. I can see that with orange.
And make a salad. I would want to think that these would be good.
That color with orange, I think, would be killer.
Cook them a little bit, and you can boil these. I hesitate boiling vegetables because you're leaving all the nutrients in the water. But if you stir fry these, they're going to get a little different. Now, if you're going to add a dressing to it, it's all good because you got the oil base for it. But if you were going to make it so it's cleaner looking, you might have trouble sauteing these. So you might want to just blanch them, drop them in real hot water, bring them out, put them in a sieve, boom, bring them out. But the whole idea of using the spiralizer I did do some research on it. I didn't just jump blindly into it. Was you need about an inch and a half, at least an inch and a half to 2 inch diameter in that range.
Okay.
Carrots work, but the person I saw doing them had these monster carrots. They looked like Chernobyl carrots. I mean, they were huge.
Uh-huh.
So carrots would work, but they said rutabaga, butternut squash.
Really?
Yeah, and that's what I'm dying to try. Not the end. Anything that's got a hollow,
Uh-huh.
has a pit or seeds, you can't use. But anything that's solid and you can stick on that spiralizer,
Right.
you're good to go.
What about like fruits, like an apple?
Apple would work, and people use apples. A pear would probably work.
Pear? Yep.
Some things up to a point, like depending on the shape again, on how shaped it is.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, slurp it up.
These are the best beets. Well, no, roasted beets are the best beets I've ever had. These are damn good beets.
I mean, you know what? You know what? It makes it exciting. It makes cooking exciting, just like these gadgets and these new, ideas for the kitchen makes it exciting. I am loving my kitchen is, ripped apart still. I've been dragging my own feet on my own kitchen all this summer, but I have enough new gadgets and new appliances that it's just fun. I love to have fun in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
And something like this, I mean, this is fun. You gotta have fun, right?
If you don't have fun in the kitchen, you're doing something wrong. Everything comes together around food. And pardon me chewing while I'm talking.
No, you don't care. Go ahead.
I don't, but I feel bad. It's such a sense of community in the kitchen. It's a place where people gather. Food, number one, is universal. I've been talking to people from all over the world that I've just met on Blab, and we connect with food. As soon as they see chef, it's like, let's talk about food. And what are you eating there? What don't you eat that we think you eat? It's just the communication and the coming up together, even virtually over food, is just amazing. And here, being able to share this and do this, share your ideas. And guys, don't be afraid to ask to come in. This is a cooking class, or show, but you can come in and ask questions. We always just ask to be respectful of the space. What we're doing, and come in and talk, ask your questions, and leave. That's fine.
And you know what? Mrs. M.A. Foodie says it's a conversation, and I don't know, why do I feel more that it's more of a conversation on Blab? I don't know why.
It's more engaging.
Maybe that's it.
We're having, there's none of this switching back and forth.
Yeah.
Using the camera. We're all seeing each other. We're seeing everything at the same time. We're getting this nice comment stream that we don't have to work on.
That's true.
They've taken away some of the features that we have with Google Plus that we learned to love, like pulling the comments up. Honestly, I don't think we need to do that. I think acknowledging them and saying hi and doing the things we're doing with them is good enough. And
but the thing is, and it's right. The beauty is that the comments are right here. With that, just inherently, they're built in right here. So, I'm looking at all the comments, and I'm really enjoying what everyone is saying, and it's just flowing. I feel like it's flowing.
And it's so good with Twitter too. And brands love Twitter. So, it's another way to get your message out.
That's true. That's true.
But this was delicious. I mean,
oh, well, I'm glad it was good for you. I wouldn't know. I'm glad.
It's fun for me when I get to do stuff like this and people are enjoying the show and watching and asking questions. So, this is the best part of cooking for me, because I won't cook for myself. I'm cooking for you guys. All right, I'm tasting it for you. I'm taking the hit for you guys. I'm eating it. But this is where a chef has fun. If I was sitting at home, I could eat crackers, Kraft macaroni and cheese. There, I said it. Although now that I'm healthier, I probably wouldn't. But it's all about giving to other people, enriching their lives with food, with experiences, with stories, and sharing. So that's what we're doing, and this is a great medium to do it.
Yep, absolutely. And and for my part too, I love to share new ideas, adopt what fits for you or don't. But you know what? And it's the same with your kitchen. Take a look at your countertops, move things around, and use things in a different way, and store things differently, and make your life easier and more functional. And also good looking. You know, I like to address both the function and the aesthetics. And, you know, there's always room. You know what? Change is good. I love change. I love change. And, you know, I know you do too. So it's that constant flow of new thoughts and ideas and, you know, that I think we both like to share.
Here you go. Christmas noodles. Red and green.
There you go. Okay.
I'm going to finish this to see you guys. This is going to be dinner tonight. I might grill some chicken to go with it. And I would hesitate to tell Lisa she's eating a turnip because she probably won't eat it. But I may have to tell her. And same thing with the beets. I'm going to definitely have fun. Now, don't cook these ahead. Cook them before you use them. They're going to get funky if you cook them too far ahead because they're so thin. There's so much.
Okay.
Okay. So you can cut them ahead, not real far, but you could cut them earlier in the day, put them in your refrigerator. You might want to put them in a colander to let some of the liquid out, or wrap them up in paper towels a little bit so they sit well. But, you know, test how you're going to store them. But just for a recap, for those that may have just been joining or finishing up, all right, we did my Spiralizer, and after I stopped pushing so hard on it, they came out right. The zucchini's a little broken up, but you know, this still isn't bad. These little bitty, and I would probably cut them up. The thicker ones are cool. And cut them up a little bit, and maybe mix them with if I wanted to mix them with pasta. And you can cut down the amount of pasta you eat. Say you still want to eat some pasta.
Now, that's life-changing. I tell every week you say something that's life-changing. And I don't want to, give you a big head or anything. But that is part of the point. That's awesome.
I love Slinkies too. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell.
I think that's great. Great point.
And then, the beet ones, like, I'm excited about beets because I don't eat enough beets.
Who does? Who does? I don't think you're alone in that.
I saw and the most colorful vegetables are the ones that are the best for you. All right, just remember that too. But these are great. These are going to be sautéed.
Nice.
And served up, and they're just wonderful. And you can get yellow beets. Yellow beets would be great. Cut them separately, cook them together. I think they'll be fine that way. And wait a minute, mixing the veggies with pasta. Yeah, like use half pasta. Like if your kids aren't big on it, mix half pasta in with the noodles, mix it together, then sauce it. All right. Or even like rotini, if you want to do some shapes and do these little zucchini things in there, cook them up briefly, mix your pasta. Put some cheese on it. Fool them.
I was just going to say, I can also see goat cheese.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Blue cheese.
Goat cheese with the beets.
Gorgonzola. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, delicious. But I mean, if you got to fool your kids into eating them by putting some shredded, mozzarella on them, or pop them in the oven real quick, let it melt. Do what you got to do. Like, I bet this would be good if you cooked a pizza crust. Put these on them.
Nice. Yep.
And you can put them on raw.
Yeah, like, we're gonna have to do another show of the Spiralizer.
Because I didn't even touch potatoes. that's the easy one.
We're gonna have to do this again for sure.
But anyway, so next week I have chicken marsala on. Now that was our very first show we did on YouTube, was chicken marsala. But that is such an easy dish to cook at home, and it's a restaurant style dish. And once you try this, like Lisa can't eat it out anywhere because the sauce is never as good. And
yeah,
basically this type of marsala I'm using, so that'll be.
Oh, good. Okay, all right. Looking forward to that. I love it.
And we have our pestos. And I made a broccoli Rabe pesto for the first time. A little bit bitter. Nice balanced flavor, not too strong. And then I made a baby greens. Let me get the box again. Pesto. I actually like this one better. Although the broccoli Rabe may have its place, but this was pepper greens that I saw in the store for the first